Something quietly extraordinary just happened in the automotive world, and if you blinked, you might have missed it. Mark McCann, a Bugatti Veyron owner, posted a comment on Matt Armstrong's YouTube channel asking if Matt had a spare gearbox fuse. 7 words. No drama, no press release, just a quiet ask buried in a comment section. But the reaction it set off tells you everything about the state of hypercar ownership in 2024. Let's back up, because context matters here. Matt Armstrong has been working on a repossessed Bugatti Veyron, a car with a murky history and a long list of hidden problems. From the moment he rolled it into his garage, fans were hooked. What happened to it? Could it actually be saved? Matt approached it the way he always does, methodically, honestly, and without pretending he had all the answers before he found them. That process has made for some of the most compelling automotive content on the internet, and it has also quietly turned Matt into one of the few people on Earth with serious, real-world, hands-on experience diagnosing and repairing a Veyron outside of Bugatti's official network. That reputation is exactly why Mark McCann came to him. Mark owns a Veyron of his own, and for months it has been completely grounded. The culprit is a failed gearbox fuse, a component that sounds deceptively simple but is anything but. The Veyron uses a dual-clutch gearbox that depends on a specific fuse to maintain communication between the gearbox control module and the rest of the car's electrical system. When that fuse fails, the gearbox loses the ability to send or receive commands. The car detects the fault, enters a protective state, and shuts the whole system down. At that point, you are not driving it. You are not coaxing it down the driveway. The car simply will not move until the problem is properly resolved. The catch is that this is not a part you can source through normal channels. It does not appear on a standard parts list. It is not sitting on a shelf at your local dealer. Accessing it through official routes requires a direct relationship with Bugatti's service network. And that network, as any independent Veyron owner will tell you, is notoriously difficult to work with. Mark reached out to Bugatti directly. They were unable to help him. So he did the only logical thing he could think of. He went to the one person he knew had recent, practical experience with this exact problem on this exact car, and left a comment. "Do you have any spare gearbox fuses?" Asking for a friend. It is a funny comment. Mark clearly knew it was funny when he wrote it. But the internet did not just laugh. It fractured. Some people found it genuinely entertaining. 2 hypercar owners, one with a broken car and one elbow deep in a near-identical broken car, connecting over a YouTube comment like it was a neighborhood forum. There is something absurdly charming about that image, and plenty of viewers appreciated it for what it was. But the significant portion of the reaction was far less generous. People were blunt. If you own one of the most expensive production cars ever built, they argued, how are you publicly asking a YouTuber for a fuse? Some called it embarrassing. Some said it was undignified. Others took a harsher line and suggested that if you cannot maintain a Veyron, you probably should not own one. Those reactions, while understandable on the surface, miss the actual point entirely. Mark McCann is not struggling because he is careless or unprepared. He is struggling because the car was never designed to be owned independently of its manufacturer. The Veyron is an engineering marvel, genuinely one of the most complex road cars ever built, but that complexity comes with a significant dependency. Every major system on this car, and many minor ones, was engineered with the assumption that Bugatti's factory service network would always be available to support it. Specialized software, proprietary components, diagnostic systems that exist nowhere outside of official channels. The car and the manufacturer were designed to be inseparable. But manufacturers move on. New models arrive. Support windows close. And owners who bought these cars in good faith are left holding something they technically own but cannot fully control. That is not a personal failure on Mark's part. That is a structural problem with how hypercars are sold and supported, and it is a problem that is becoming impossible to ignore. Which brings us back to Matt Armstrong and why his work matters beyond the entertainment value. What Matt is doing in his garage is not just mechanical troubleshooting. Every time he finds a workaround, reverse engineers a solution, or figures out how to bring a system back to life without factory support, he is proving something important. These cars do not have to become inoperable sculptures just because Bugatti says so. The right to repair is not some abstract policy debate when you are standing in front of a grounded Veyron. It is the immediate practical difference between a car that runs and a car that does not. And the diagnostic work involved is genuinely complex. With a gearbox fault like this one, you are not simply swapping a fuse and calling it done. If you replace the component without understanding what caused the failure in the first place, you will be back in the same position within weeks. The real work is tracing the fault back through the system, understanding the sequence of events that led to the failure, ruling out deeper electrical issues, and making sure the repair actually solves the problem rather than masking it. That requires patience, the right diagnostic tools, and a level of experience with these specific systems that almost nobody outside of Bugatti's own technicians has developed. Matt has developed it anyway. That is the remarkable part. Most shops in the world, good shops, experienced shops, would take one look at a Veyron gearbox fault and tell you to call the factory. Matt actually goes in. He does the work. And the community that has formed around watching him do it has become something more than a fan base. It is a network of people who care about these problems, who share information, who rally around a comment section question about a fuse because they understand what is really at stake. That comment from Mark is not just a funny moment. It is a signal. It represents a gap that should not exist. A situation where an owner of one of the most celebrated automobiles ever produced cannot source a basic electrical component from the company that built the car. Not a turbine. Not a carbon fiber body panel. A fuse. And that detail, more than any technical explanation or industry analysis, cuts straight to the heart of what is wrong with how these cars exist in the world once they leave the factory. Because when you really sit with it, the question becomes uncomfortable: who actually owns these cars? The answer, in many cases, is nobody, not fully. You can hold the title. You can have the car in your garage. But if the manufacturer controls access to every critical component and every diagnostic tool, and then quietly withdraws that access, what you actually own is a very expensive static object. The fastest, most powerful, most sophisticated piece of engineering you have ever seen that you cannot drive. That is the reality Mark McCann is living right now. And it is the reality Matt Armstrong pushes back against every single time he finds a solution that the official system said did not exist. None of this has been resolved yet. Mark's gearbox is still down. Matt's Veyron project is still ongoing. But the conversation this moment has sparked about parts access, about manufacturer responsibility, about what independent builders are quietly doing to fill a gap that the industry would rather pretend is not there, that conversation is not going away. If anything, it is getting louder. Do you think manufacturers have a responsibility to keep supporting cars like the Veyron indefinitely, or is that on the owner to figure out? Because based on what you have just seen, that is not a hypothetical question anymore. It is a very real one, and the answer matters.